Hello. My vlog is about the newsletter that we've been required to design for class. My topic is School on the Rise. I'm going to be sharing information. This newsletter is going to be focusing on the importance of accreditation for a deaf school. It's critical that the school adheres to a set of educational standards promoting student performance, excellence, and success in students that are deaf and hard of hearing. Being accredited promotes the school's organizational effectiveness. I'm going to talk a little bit about accreditation. Here at Tennessee School for the Deaf, we've started strategic planning in 2021. Our goal is to become accredited by 2025. It's important that this strategic plan includes improvements made by the committee. I put in a couple of pictures related to deaf staff and staff working and servicing deaf students. I'm going to read the next portion of the newsletter, and it talks about accessibility and accountability. CEASD, that's the accrediting agency, it focuses on Standard 12, which is related to technology, and we really need that as a school here. We need that accreditation to help with technology and the technological processes here. I'm going to explain those standards. So 12.7, technology resources. Staff is sufficient and appropriately qualified to provide effective services to students and to staff. 12.8 is technology resources are appropriately maintained and supported annually with funding from the school's budget. 12.9 states that adequate skills, training, and the use of technology resources and equipment is provided to the staff and students. 12.10 states that the school implements written policies and procedures for the acceptable use of technology. 12.11, long-range planning activities are in place to ensure that the school keeps pace with technological changes, indicators for schools that provide distance education. 12.12 states that technology system is adequate to deliver educational program and available when needed and is reliable. 12.13 states that the school provides students with reasonable technical support for the educational technology hardware, software, and delivery system required to implement the educational program. Excuse me. Now, this is really close to my heart, this third point. It focused on lacking technological schools. Here, we really need to focus on social emotional learning. We all learned the hard way when the pandemic hit us. It really took its toll on deaf and hard of hearing students. We weren't prepared for this long stretch of virtual learning and hybrid learning. The virtual learning platform, it wasn't best equipped for our students. Teachers, they weren't fully trained or prepared for this educational platform. Cognitive and language development for young children is really critical in early childhood and schooling. A critical element of this development, particularly for deaf and hard of hearing students, is social interaction with peers and adults. Constant language input and joint activity for the development of a cognitive process is essential. Even a delay of a few weeks can be harmful for deaf and hard of hearing students. Our students rely, they depend on the full communication access and that sense of belonging. I wanted to add a statement from the NAD, that's the National Association for the Deaf. Prior to the COVID-19 outbreak, many schools, they provided their mainstream deaf and hard of hearing students with interpreters, captioning devices, or assisted listening devices. The National Association of the Deaf has received reports that some schools and educational programs have stopped providing these students with interpreters, captioning services, and other services now that they've switched to virtual learning. The NAD is also concerned that any such services may have been altered in a way to negatively impact the student's education. Such cessation of services or deterioration in services is unacceptable if this leads to causing the virtual education to be inaccessible to the deaf and hard of hearing students. This greatly affects their social emotional learning. Schools and educational programs across the country that have mainstream deaf and hard of hearing students must ensure that their virtual programs, both synchronous and asynchronous, are fully accessible, and this policy guidance outlines the ways to achieve this mandate. Thank you.